because April and May didn't see a payment from me. Welcome back to Wine and Chill. I'm Stephanie, your favorite recovering lawyer, and this is a very, very late student loan update. All right, as you can see by the title, and as maybe you've noticed, we haven't had a student loan update in 2 months. The last one I did was in March, and everything is retroactive, so that's what I paid in February. That actually came out, I think, either the first week of April in there. So this is going to be, I figured we would just catch up. And by we, I mean me. We're going to do April through June student loan updates. So everything will be retroactive. So this will be what I paid in March, April, and May. And really what I paid in March, because April and May didn't see a payment from me. So our agenda is going to be the payments over the past few months, inflation, the grapes, and the oil, actually, in case you drive, and in case you were wondering who is one of the culprits behind inflation not going down and all of us adjusting to this newest version of reality that is very expensive. There's some corporations to blame. And then we're going to talk about what I've been up to and where I've been. I was in South Africa, hence the suitcase that is there. It is empty. I have unpacked it. She's broken. Yeah. She broke on, I think, my 3rd flight of 7 in South Africa. So we'll talk about that. Shout out to the South African Tourism Board for having me for 2.5 weeks in South Africa. It was amazing, complicated, and I learned a lot about history, which, I have some thoughts. We're going to have a very detailed historical vlog, video, etc. coming soon about that. Then we're also going to talk about complexion of law and the updates for that. So shout out to Patreon. We're finally back on a schedule-ish on Patreon. We had a live stream last week, as well as all of the interviews from Complexion of Law, which is my new travel and law series that will be coming out, fingers crossed, hopefully July. All of the behind the scenes and the interviews of Complexion of Law, they are over on Patreon. So shout out to Patreon for supporting that. And yeah, now we're going to get back on it. So before I get into, what has been going on and why this video is so very late, let's talk about what I paid. So if you're new here, my starting student loan balance when I finally made enough money as a lawyer in tech to start paying back my student loans in 2020, February 14th to be exact, was $304,680.17 trifling cents. Those trifling cents are inclusive of about $75,000 of just interest, aka money I did not borrow. Okay, so from March through May, I paid $1,000. I'm going to get back on track. My remainder balance is $148,773.97, which in 4 years brings my estimated total paid to $165,294.63 hard-earned pennies. That number is really, we've talked about this, probably around 175. I don't count any of the payments before 2020 in that number. That's exactly what I've paid so far. The payments before 2020, I was paying the minimum. So now my goal is for the rest of the year to commit, get back on here, make some more money. The interesting thing, and we're going to talk about this in a second, is the creator economy is currently in a free fall. I'm sure you've heard your favorite creators voice their concerns about this. AdSense is not adding. The math is not mathing anymore. It's up and down. However, for me personally, this career is very fulfilling. I do not want to go back to legal work. I hate legal work. I said this many times. After practicing for 7 years, I'd rather, the office not see me. Unless I'm going in there for free food, which shout out to YouTube. I do go into the YouTube office quite often to speak on panels, etc. And I always appreciate my free lunch. Outside of that, I don't really want to go back. However, you have to make the math work for you. And one of the things that I'm committed to doing in this section of life where everything is a highlight reel is to be very honest about the dollars and cents. So we're going to talk about that after we first talk about the inflation. All right, I'm here to report breaking news that the grapes and the price of the grapes are still out of hand. If you've been following this channel for very long, that is my biggest pet peeve. That one bag of grapes in New York, because it's based on weight, is usually around $10 for grapes. Grapes that, because the produce is bad, usually if you don't eat them within 3 days, they go bad. So then, yeah, you're out of grapes. So according to the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, they just released evidence that a few oil conglomerates colluded with the Saudi government to hike up the price of gas. Yeah. And this oil price fixing conspiracy has allegedly caused 27% of all inflation-related costs in 2021. Oh, this place gets raggedier by the minute. Earth is ghetto, I wanna leave. There is some hope because the FTC is working with other individuals to bring a large antitrust lawsuit against these companies for their collusion. They're colluding, their fraudulence, their triflingness, etc. And this is important because when antitrust issues come up, antitrust is the area of law that covers monopolies. Think Live Nation, Ticketmaster, which by the time this video airs, I'll have done a live stream regarding Ticketmaster live stream and the antitrust case that the DOJ is bringing against them. As a consumer, anytime these large conglomerates participate in any monopolies or antitrust violations, it hurts consumers. And as a consumer, you have the right to push back and say, I'm not going to pay $10 for grapes. Which leads me to a personal project that I should probably do and figure out who the middleman is between the farmers who aren't getting paid much and then the actual grocery store who is then charging me for the grapes. Because somebody's making money. The math is not mathing.
You're making us pay for grapes? Apples? Things that God gave us for free?
Speaking of money and the creator economy and, why my student loans are very much still alive. Not well, but with me. If you're new here, you may not know. When I worked in corporate, I made a Q coin. For context, because I do believe in salary transparency, that's the only way we, the regular people, are going to get our money's worth. When I left the law, my last salary was $165,000 as a lawyer in tech, and that was my base salary, not including bonuses and stock options. When you work for a startup, they try to incentivize you with stock options in the hope that eventually, if the company has an exit event, you will get the money rained down on you. I think we've talked about this multiple times. It doesn't generally work that way. All right. Sometimes it does. So with that, I have been paying off my student loans for 4 years. 4 years of mostly $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 payments, which is why this year, the payment, I don't think I've made a payment this year over $2,000 yet. Part of that is due to financial constraints, to be honest. On my end, I make significantly less as a content creator. However, I want to ensure that I'm still contributing the same amount to all the people in my life that, need the money, including apparently my landlord who needs my money. I don't know why. I figured by now, after all these years, it's fine. And I think it's safe to say, because I usually ask how y'all are doing, how your student loan payoff journey is going. And I always say how I'm doing. I'm at the point where I'm not sad. I'm not mad. I'm just burnt out. I'm to the point of indifference with my student loans. And I figured I'd get to this point. I think I was starting to feel this way last year as well, because again, I have paid an estimate $165K. It's probably around 175. It might have hit 180 by now, if I'm being honest, and I were to go back and look at every single payment from 2013, which is when I graduated law school. I'm tired. When you consistently chip away at something and you don't see the results after 4 years, I don't have any feeling towards them besides indifference. I don't have any joy when I make the payment, which is a weird thing to say because I used to actually be very happy when I made a large payment. It made me feel better. I could see the balance decrease. Now I'm like, the balance has been decreasing for 4 mother effing years. And yet it's still there. I am looking for, so if you have any recommendations, please let me know, any other content creators that you follow that are also paying off their student loans. I find that it's really helpful, and I personally find it very hopeful when I see other people who are working towards a similar goal. I used to follow Asia Dang. I still follow her, but she's since paid off her loans. I think it's been like 3 years now. I think she paid them off in my first year of me starting this, and That was a great motivation to watch all her videos. Every month she would do an update video, which she inspired me to do these videos. And watching her chip away at her $200,000 worth of debt, super inspiring. Now I need to find a few other people to watch because I'm like, maybe that'll boost my morale. Because I'm at the point where I'm like, well, my bills are paid. I have a little bit of extra money, a little bit, it's slim, to, help the people in my life that I need to help myself, buy things that are a little cute, I bought this for South Africa. It was on sale. 95% of the things that I buy, particularly clothes, are on sale. The only thing I buy full price, earrings. I have a compulsive earring habit. Have y'all seen these? These are very cute. I've worn them on Patreon. I try to buy from small vendors, so it's a win-win. I'm helping a small business. Usually it's women owned. Usually it's Black or brown women as well. And yeah. So then, I give them the money. I get the earrings. They get a sale. It's a win for everyone. Outside of that, I don't spend that much money. However, my student loans, because they are such a huge chunk of change, let's go back and remind myself, after giving them almost $200K over 4 years, I still owe $148,773.97 trifling cents because of the interest. Without the interest, I would be under six figures. I think, if I'm being honest, I'm going to have to get some motivation to get myself to the 99K. I think I'll be excited again when I'm under six figures. Right now, I'm just like, well, they're there. Every price of everything is rising. I gotta live my life. I gotta do what I need to do. I can't be over here crying about these student loans that I have been diligently indentured to for 4 years. I'm over it. I'm very over it. I don't know. My eye is dry. I've come on here a few times, and because I was so upset about it, I have cried, and it's cathartic. It's like, I just have to let it out. I'm holding in all my anxiety and my feelings about these student loans, and they're wreaking havoc on my life. I don't got a tear left. I have no feelings about it. I'm like, well, is this fair? No. Predatory interest is not fair. Is this right? No. Congress set the interest rates to one of my highest interest rates. I can look at it right now, 7.21%. Why? I had a 10% loan with Sallie Mae. There was no need. I don't feel any moral obligation anymore. I don't know if I ever did, if I'm being honest. I just more so was like, oh, well, I need to pay this off so I can move on with my life. Or I could just do both. I think that happened around like year 2. I was like, ooh, beans and rice? That's not going to work all the time. I deserve a nice little earring once every couple of months. Who cares? It's my money. I work very hard for it. And now I'm kind of at, well, my life is going pretty well, even though those loans are still sitting there. It's hard to self-motivate when you've done seemingly the right thing for so long and you haven't gotten the reward for it. If I'm being honest. If 8 Advantage is watching this, I don't know. Also, I think this is a normal reaction to have after 4 years. Law school, for example, is 3 years. The first year, you're so terrified. I was so terrified of law school. You're like, oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it. The second year, you kind of have a handle on what's going on. And you're like, okay, I'm striving towards a goal. I only have, if you start at the beginning of the second year, 2 years left. By the third year, you're completely over it. However, you can see the end of the tunnel because it's the last year. With student loans, we're on year 4. I suppose I have a 3-year horizon. Because now I'm very much Cardi B. What was the reason?
What was the reason?
What was the reason? She's constantly screaming in my head. What was the reason? What is the reason? So yeah, I'm going to try self-motivate because I would love to get under 6 figures and then maybe sprint. And particularly, the reason why I would like to get under 6 figures and then sprint to the end is I don't want to really enter the next phase of my life with debt. I really don't. And there's a video of me saying that I didn't want to enter that phase a few years ago with debt. So yeah, if you're on my Instagram, you already know Gabriel and I are throwing a very intimate, cost-effective party. Gabriel proposed, we're getting married. I'm super excited. The marriage to us both is more important than the party. The party is very expensive. And I still do believe, to be honest, in my heart of hearts, us both being the oldest of many kids, us both being the first in our family to do a lot of things, us both, working like two Jamaicans, even though Gabriel is not Jamaican, that we deserve something nice. But, the two of us are footing the bill. So even going through the beginning process of, okay, like how much is this going to cost? How much do we want to spend? Has been very eye-opening. Since we are in the age of you get a RICO, you get a RICO, you get a RICO case, I think somebody should really look into the wedding industry. They are running a racket. And it's a little bit wild. So that is exciting in terms of, to me, it's our first, I would say, larger financial project together. Since we're both the ones who are going to be picking everything, paying for everything, etc. We both agreed we want it to be beautiful, but it's more important to us for everyone to have fun. So I'm like, we're going to spend the money on the fun. And with that, I really don't want to enter, into our marital contract with debt. I'd rather not. So I need to use that maybe as a way to motivate myself to get out of this goddamn debt. Because I'm done with it. And I would love, as much as I'm hoping this series has helped y'all, and this series is the only thing keeping me on track somewhat. And that's ironic, seeing as the last 2 months I was very off the track. The only reason I'm back on the track is because this series. So I appreciate y'all for that. And as much as I love this space, I will breathe a sigh of relief when we can conclude this series and move on to like budgets or something else. Because I'm tired. All my life I've been tired. I would like to say thank you to y'all, because this series, ironically, since the last 2 months I've been off the track, this series and doing this series and knowing that we've built a community around, we the debtors paying off these student loans, has kept me on track somewhat. Honestly, has fully kept me on track, because at this point, I don't complain to my friends and family about it, because where's it going to go? It's not going to go anywhere. I still have a lot of friends who are lawyers who are like, loans who? I don't know her, never seen her. Sorry to that man. Where I'm like, wait, we have the same amount. And actually, I have less because I've been paying mine. So without this, I think I would have fully just fell off the track by now. I'm not going to lie. So with that, one of the things in terms of making more money and why I'm just kind of like, oh, what else do I need to do? I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes work for YouTube, not on YouTube currently, in the past 2 months. And I've been on YouTube. I didn't go on YouTube all of May, but April, I was over here, but doing live streams. One of the things that is happening also simultaneously, which if you're interested in the creator economy, I'm happy for us to, maybe we can do a deep dive about that if y'all are interested in how much, your favorite creator makes. And in terms of like, all that glitters is not gold. I'm going to preface this and say, I'm so lucky to have this job. I love this job. The money is funny though. And it is a little bit demotivating to do your work and not to get paid for your work. I don't think anything will let that sit right in most people's soul, particularly when you have bills. If you don't have bills, then fine. But bills have to pay. Bills have to pay. So what's currently going on right now, the creator economy is in flux. A lot of people, including myself, the AdSense is down. The AdSense is down because Google is going through various changes. Shorts are the bane of my existence anyways. And with that, the hard thing is no matter how much content you put out, you don't know if it is going to hit with the audience. Maybe I put out something and y'all are like, child, I didn't want to hear about that case. I do not care. So now you've done all this work. You don't necessarily recoup the money for all the work. It's up and down, it ebbs and flows. But particularly as inflation has hit every single sector, it has particularly hit advertisers who have been running amok for years, for what it's worth. It's all coming to a head, which is why you have a lot of people now being like, ooh, what is going on? How's this working? So one of the things about the creator economy is you can work really hard on a project, put it out on YouTube, and then, people are just like, well, I'm not particularly interested in this, or what is this, that's normal. The throwback lawsuit series is a symptom of that Bush v. Gore video. I was like, I worked so hard on this video. This is a great video. We usually do trending topics, so of course, that's a bit of a shift. We're talking about the year 2000. That's 24 years ago. So the throwback lawsuit series, I would like to finish it. I think I'm going to find a different angle that I think will get people excited. So we are going to round out that series this summer. Just something to know if you're interested in, doing this full time. it ebbs and it flows. And the thing that will keep you sane, the thing that has kept me sane throughout, it'll be 2 years in July that I've been doing this full time for 2 years, is a good sizable savings account. Preferably in a high yield savings account, because then you get free money with interest. Ally is who I have. I think the interest right now, 4.3%, 4.2%. And that's interest, not like your student loans where the interest is bad. This is good interest. I get the money. So every month I get a little cute little, oh, here you go, girl. And I'm like, thank you. And I just let it compound and save in there. So that has kept me sane. I have yet, in 2 years, I still haven't touched my savings account for myself. When my dad had his accident, I had to, take a chunk out to make sure to help with all of that. But I replenished it within like 3 months. And yeah. So that has kept me here and on track and somewhat sane, I would say. So I highly recommend, if you are interested and you're like, listen, corporate is too much. It's too much commotion. You are doing, making a little bit of money already and you have a financial plan. I think it can still be done. I wouldn't dissuade anybody from doing it, but you have to do it with your eyes open for what it's worth. Because labor is labor regardless of what you're wearing and whether or not you feel cute. It's still work. In March, I got a little panicked and was like, do I have to go back to corporate? Worse things can happen. I have always said and held to it, I will humbly go back. However, I would rather not go back because I find this fulfilling. And also I have some really interesting, fun projects that I've gotten to embark on in the past 2 months. I would say like since January, actually, in the past couple months that do require flexible time. So the first being Complexion of Law. Y'all may have seen it. I've put out a few things on Instagram. I've done like the post here on YouTube, which I have created a travel and law series with Halise. Super excited for that. So she basically is the director of photography, so handling all the production. And then I am the executive producer. So all of the research, the creation of the show, the idea of the show is mine, the interviewing, etc. So with that show, Complexion of Law, we are going to be looking at the intersection of laws and policies and how that impacts the Black community across the United States and then the diaspora at large. We're starting with the Shelby v. Holder case, which took place in Shelby County, Alabama. So we did a road trip to Alabama from Georgia. I got to interview AG Eric Holder, who is the holder in Shelby v. Holder, as he was the Attorney General of the United States under Barack Obama. Lovely human, very funny, very nice. I'm excited for y'all to see that. All of the behind the scenes of the full interviews of everyone we've interviewed are over on Patreon. So we have been working on that since January, which is super exciting. So that will finally be on YouTube in July. So that has been a huge undertaking. The first time I've ever done, I would say, a proper production. For what it's worth. This is technically production, but I'm turning this on, turning the mic on, doing my hair, putting my earrings on, and sitting here with that. So this Halise rented lights, has lights, like multiple mics, boom mic, lapel mic, all types of things. Working with the Carter Center, working with other nonprofits, coordinating where we're going to shoot things. It has been amazing. It has been such a wonderful journey and thing to experience. And I'm excited for y'all to see it. The second thing that happened, so if you're following me on Instagram, you definitely have seen this. More content is going to come out. It's going to look on Instagram like I'm still in South Africa. I am here in New York in my little apartment. The South African Tourism Board kindly took me to South Africa for 16 whole days. All expenses paid to go to Africa's Travel Indaba. That is the largest travel trade show on the continent, which was amazing. We went to Durban. KwaZulu-Natal is the province. We went to Gerpa. We went to Port Elizabeth. We went past through Port Elizabeth, mostly in Gerpa. Went to Johannesburg, went to Cape Town. I have seen a lot of the country. Shout out to South African Tourism Board again for that. And it was very eye-opening. It was beautiful. The people are so nice. The most complimentary Diaspora Cousins Award goes to the women of South Africa. So kind. Also stunning. Stunning. God really smiled on them. God really did. And I love that for them. And the food, excellent. I brought back so much peri-peri sauce. I love hot sauce. I love anything spicy. They make some good spice. Great food, excellent. And also, I would say in ways, challenges you if you are a lover of history and a lover of the collective fight for liberation for Black people and everyone in general, because our struggle is tied together. Going to South Africa will challenge you to see the world as it is and to see what needs to be changed and to see historically how the continent, as well as us descended from the continent over here on this side of the Atlantic, how people pushed together to help end apartheid in the 1990s. I believe apartheid ended in 1993 or 1994. In our lifetime, which is wild. South Africa celebrates its 30th year of democracy this year. So at 94, that's the answer, because it's 2004. 30th year of democracy. So it was heartwarming, heartbreaking, beautiful, complicated to see everything that South Africans have overcome in terms of fighting for their liberation, fighting to end apartheid, and also all the work that needs to be done, because you cannot have reconciliation without restitution. That was my big takeaway. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about ethical travel, and as a lover of going to visit the diaspora, how you can ensure that your money is going to the community. So we'll have a video coming up about that. So that's what I've been up to. Being gone for 2.5 weeks was wild. At a certain point, I was like, I'm South African now. I live here, because I don't know what my life is before that. So yeah, it's been a wild 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I don't know what day it is. What's new? So with that, how are y'all doing? I'm excited to get back on track with our series. So on that note, I hope y'all are doing well. Let me know how your student loan payoff journey is going. And if you could please, if you have other favorite student loan payoff content creators that you follow, let me know so I can follow them. Because I need to see somebody who's excited. Maybe somebody at the beginning of their payoff journey. Because 4 years into it, I feel like it's 4 years and dog years. I'm tired, but I'm still here and we're still going. So I'm excited for the summer. I hope the summer treats y'all well. And I will catch y'all later. Bye.